Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Langer. I'm the digital content manager at channel3000.com. We're hopping on live here on Facebook Live and on YouTube because we're trying something new here at News 3 Now and channel3000.com. As we bring you that live coverage of the Chandler Halderson trial over the next few weeks here. We'll be streaming as much of that as we can. As much as we're allowed to even over the next few weeks. There are a few rules that we and the rest of the media kind of have to follow as ordered by the judge in the case. I'll run through those in a couple of minutes here. But in the meantime, you can kind of expect me to hop on and kind of break things down or recap things as they happen during the trial. That way, if you're just joining it in the middle of it and you want to know what's going on, we'll be here to kind of keep you up to date, both here on our live streaming platforms and over at channel3000.com. So like I mentioned, there are some limits on what we can't show during this trial based on what the judge ordered in the case. We have that full list over at channel3000.com, but the main point generally is if the jury's not in the room, we can't stream it. The judge wanted to make sure that the jury doesn't have access to any other information that's not being allowed at trial. You might have seen some coverage of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, for example, where there were lots of arguments going on between the two sides, lots of motions and that kind of thing outside the presence of the jury. The judge in this case just wanted to make sure, just because there's been so much interest in it over the last 6 months, really, that he wanted to make sure that the jury wasn't influenced by anything they might see accidentally outside of the courtroom. So that means we won't be streaming any of that stuff if the jury's not in the room. Basically, you'll see what you see right now. You're going to see that state seal of Wisconsin up there. The audio feed's going to be cut. And we might jump on just to kind of say, hey, they're taking a break now. This is what they're talking about. But we won't be able to show that live. We just want to make sure that you all know that, so it's not like we're trying to hide anything or we're not showing certain things of the case. These are just kind of the rules that the judge ordered all the media in this market and cable networks to follow as they cover this case. So that's usually when you'll see us jump on and kind of give that recap. In terms of what we are allowed to show, we are going to be allowed to show the witness stand, the faces of the witnesses as they testify during the trial. Any evidence shown to the jury on the projector screens in the courtroom, we can also show that. And just about everything else in the courtroom except the jury and their faces. The prosecution has indicated, though, that some of the evidence they're going to be showing is pretty gruesome and pretty tough to look at. So as part of the jury instructions or jury questioning as they select the jury here, they're going to make sure everybody can understand what they may see over the next couple of weeks here. It's just a warning to you guys too, as you watch this case. There might be some things that are difficult to see, so obviously use some caution if you're going to follow along with this trial. We'll try to show things the best we can, but also take some care in some of the evidence that's being shown, just because it is, from what we hear, pretty gruesome. In the meantime, also, we're not allowed to show the jury or their faces. That seems pretty obvious, pretty standard for court cases and the like, but the judge wanted to make sure that, again, their identities are kept secret, especially during this jury selection process. So this is also why, you might not have seen so much coming out of the jury selection this morning, kind of wondering what's going on. We've taken a few calls about that in our newsroom this morning as well. The judge just decided that, it's best that both sides, the prosecutors and the defense attorneys, get to question the prospective jurors kind of out of the eye of cameras. So they're doing that in a separate room right now, and kind of working their way through that list of prospective jurors. From what we've heard, there's about a pool of about 60 possible people. There's already been some people excused throughout the morning, either due to medical concerns or what have you. So they're continuing to work their way through that list. They're taking a break for lunch right now, but they expect that to take most of today, if not all of today, with the trial itself getting underway tomorrow. So, like I said, both sides will be giving their cases beginning tomorrow morning. It's being estimated right now that the trial could take at least 3 weeks. Most of that coming from the prosecution as they present the evidence in their case. They say they have a lot of exhibits to show and a lot of things and witnesses to go through as they piece together what they allege happened in this case. After that, the defense thinks it'll take about a week or so for them to present their case. And after that, we'll have those closing arguments and the case will be in the hands of the jury. So as a result of that, the court's really blocked off most of the month of January for this. It's expected to be a very extensive, very detailed trial with lots of evidence to present. So if you miss anything during the course of this, we'll be recapping it all here on these live streams, whether it's on channel3000.com, on our Facebook page, or on our YouTube page. You can also go to channel3000.com and get a full recap of the case itself. What we did is we built a page on channel3000.com that will break down basically every bit of the investigation here. I just popped up our homepage. You see that banner at the top of the page there. You can just click that and you'll be taken to our page for this trial. The URL also is channel3000.com/Halderson if you wanted to get to it that way. But what you'll see on that page is when we're streaming live, you'll see it here on this page. You'll see links to catch up to other aspects of the case. If you missed anything over the past 6 months or so, you can find it here. What you'll also find is a full timeline of the investigation, starting from when Bart and Krista Halderson were first reported missing, all the way up to now with jury selection. So you can click through, see the stories that we did there, also get some background detail on the case from the criminal complaint as well. That way, you can follow along as the trial goes along. If you're unfamiliar with the case, this is a great way to catch up and kind of get that background there. Also on this page, we have our full interview with Chandler Halderson himself. He spoke to one of our reporters shortly after he reported his parents missing and didn't want to be on camera, but did allow it to be recorded via audio. So we have that full interview of what he said happened to his parents on our page here as well. This interview was done just hours actually before he was arrested and accused of lying to police about his parents' whereabouts. So you can listen to that full interview here too as well. It's only about 2 or 3 minutes long, but you can hear from Chandler himself. And additionally, at the bottom of the page, we have pretty much links to every single story we've done in this case since last July. So you can go through and see what everything we covered in the past was. Again, a really good way to catch up on that case as well. So, like I said, they're in a break right now while they go through the jury selection process. And we'll be back here throughout the day as they continue to work their way through that list. If they have a jury, we'll get that news out to you on channel3000.com as well. As of now, though, the plan still is for this trial to start tomorrow morning, roughly around 9 o'clock. So we'll be back then. You can set your calendars if you're interested in watching. We'll be streaming as much of it as we can, as we said. There's some limitations, but we will be streaming the whole thing from start to finish. You can also get the recaps of what happened every day on our newscasts. News 3 Now live at 4, at 5, at 6, and at 10. And News 3 Now this morning will have what you can expect coming up in the next day as well. So keep an eye out for that. And again, go to channel3000.com for all the latest updates. In the meantime, I will log off here, but we will be back if there are any more updates this afternoon.